This one we're gonna call this one Sex Game, the real bad boy and real players versus the wannabe bad boy and the wannabe players. See, there's a lot of misconception here on YouTube, aka YouTube land. And a lot of guys are confused when they get out of high school and college and they get into the real world. A lot of these guys, when they see beautiful, attractive women, black women, white women, Mexican women, some Asian and Indian women, and even Samoan women, about 80 to 85, sometimes 90% of the time, a lot of these men watch too much television and too many Hollywood movies, and they want to imitate the bad boys and the players because they want to be able to physically, sexually attract women. There's nothing wrong with physically, sexually attracting women. But there is something wrong if you're not a real bad boy or a real player and you're a wannabe bad boy or a wannabe player. Now, the reason why I'm doing this type of YouTube video is because it's going to lead into another series of videos. I have a lot of fun reaction videos coming up. Friday, I'm going to give you part 2 of the fast cars in the world will make women run after you, because I still got to do some more research on those fast cars. This is just a video to entertain and tie you over until Friday. As you do know, Thursdays I work for about 6 to 8 hours. I don't do YouTube videos when I work because they're long, lengthy hours. And we don't want no chefs to come in the kitchen and be looking at me with that look like, why are you doing YouTube videos in the kitchen when you're supposed to be working for 6 to 8 hours? And they don't want to see your cell phone out. They get very upset when they see that cell phone. Because, trust me, I've had some friends that have tried to snapshot at their job or put it on Twitter or Instagram, and they get caught red-handed by the chef. So that's why my phone is always turned off, and that's why I don't even do videos. Even if I get a 30-minute lunch break, I'm still not doing a YouTube video. Because in the area that I'm at, it's impossible to do a video because they have police that can drive around. They have security that can drive around the Santa Monica area, and if it look like you're filming, then they're going to look at you like, you got a film permit? No. Then why are you filming? You want me to take your phone? No. Then turn the phone off. So even in Santa Monica, you won't even see me film. Like at the Grove, they have a park, so I can film at the park. But at Santa Monica's a little bit more strict than the Grove. Like the Grove is strict when it comes to after hours at hanging out at the park. That's when the Grove gets super strict. Santa Monica is super strict to the point where you can't even film in the area. It's the same thing at Venice Beach. You ain't got no film permit. You're not filming. It's just simple. They see you filming, they're going to call the police on you. They're going to get security on you, private security. And you're not going to like when these guys roll up on you and be like, didn't we just told you no more filming? You got to have a film permit. And if you get the film permit, they'll still be trying to stop you from filming in certain locations of that area. Now, if you're Steven Spielberg or George Lucas, then that's a different story. Now, real bad boys and real players are not always guys who always go to jail. That's just one interpretation. Now, I did make that video, and that video did go viral because I went to a Food for Less 4 months ago, and there was this black girl who saw my video, and she made it clear that she wasn't happy with the outcome of the conclusion to that video because she thought I was player hating on the bad boys and the players. Which I wasn't player hating on the bad boys and the players. I was explaining the math and the science on why those guys are getting the girls and why guys who went to high school and college that are considered boring and lame don't get the girls in high school and college, and is always later in life. When it's 10 years later, 15 years later, or 20 years later, they get the girl when the girl hit the wall and she ain't that physically, sexually attractive no more. That's why I said that in the video. Some people don't use this. They just get all emotional and in their feelings, and they don't use this. Which is sad when you think about it. Anyway, the case is, we're going to talk about the wannabe bad boy, the wannabe player, the signs and how you can tell somebody's a wannabe bad boy or wannabe player. I talked about it on my old YouTube channels, and I never had a chance to make a video for it, so I decided I want to make a video for it that really fully explain it, really go into full depth. Now, the wannabe bad boy tries to claim that he's from a hood. Like, he tries to claim that he is from some gang that he knows is notorious for being infamous. Infamous is like a nice way of saying you're famous for something bad, terrible, horrendous. Like, let's use Rolling 60's Crip for an example. You got guys that are not really from that gang that claim they're from that gang. And when the real members of that group pop up into your city residence, they confront you and say, I heard you claiming our hood when you're not from our hood. That's when you get beat up. That's when you get stomped out on the sidewalk. That's when you get banged on 5 to 10 times. That's when the car roll up with the window coming down, creeping up on you, because you're claiming something that you have no business claiming. Like, I'm not a gang member. That's obvious. That's no secret. I already told you in my video, I like video games. I like comic books. I like anime. I go to Comic-Con. I go to the anime convention. I like Dragon Ball Z. I like martial arts. I like boxing. I'm not a gang member. Now, have I gotten into fights with gang members when I was in high school? Yes, I have. Some of those fights I've won, and some of those fights I've got my ass whooped. Yeah, I've had some fights where I've won, and I've had some fights where I got my ass whooped. And it wasn't because I was the wannabe bad boy or the wannabe player. It was in the category of bully tactics. That's why I made those videos, part 1, part 2, and part 3, on why women and men get bullied, part 1, part 2, and part 3. It was for being bullied. So it's a different category. The wannabe bad boys and the wannabe players are individuals who take stuff from movies and television shows. When you try to put it into the real world, it has potential for danger. Because you don't know who's watching you. You don't know who's talking about you on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, on YouTube. You don't know who's talking about you and who's watching you. And they could be watching you 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Because you're proclaiming something that you have no business proclaiming. And they do it to impress women. Like, they do it because they know that if a woman finds it physically, sexually attractive, that's why they're going to do it. But they don't realize there's a consequence for doing it. The woman will go back and tell the real bad boy, the real players, that you're self-proclaiming yourself as something that you're not. And then they find out about it, and it doesn't take that long. It might take 3 months. Might take 6 months, might take a year. You could be at the movie theater, you could be at the mall, you could be at the park, you could be at 24-hour fitness at the gym working out, and 1 or 2 of them might just so happen to catch you in person and walk up on you and go, so I heard you claiming you from our association. Now you got a problem, because now 2 things gonna happen. Either a fight gonna break out in proximity, or you're going to have to explain to the best of your ability why that person shouldn't get you for it. And then you see the police be laughing because the police be trying to tell y'all, stop trying to be a wannabe bad boy. Because it has consequences. Then you make the police think you're from that association. And then the police be following you. I've had friends in college that had this happen to them, where every time they went to a certain part, police always popped up every day. We be playing basketball, everybody stop and we look and be like, why we see 3 police cars? And then they get out, and then they point at who they are looking at, and then it be the dude I'm playing basketball with. Like 2 years ago, there was this 2 guys whose names I can't tell you. One don't live in the neighborhood no more because he be doing some stuff that he ain't got no business doing. The other one, he live in the area, so I can't even describe what he looked like, because, you know, he be watching YouTube like that all day. Like, this guy would be watching YouTube at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. So I know he might run across a video or two and be like, this dude talking about us, man. We play basketball with this dude, man. Oh, man, he can't do that. And I was playing basketball with him 2 years ago because he challenged me to a one-on-one basketball game. And next thing I know, we see a police car roll up, and everybody nervous because we only played maybe 1 or 2 games of pickup basketball, and here come a police car. And we're trying to figure out, did somebody call the cops on us? Like, it's a public park, we're playing basketball, we ain't committing no crimes. Come to find out, both of them had an arrest warrant from 5 years ago. Turns out they went to a nightclub in Hollywood, and they were fighting somebody at a nightclub, got kicked out the nightclub, hit somebody in the head with a beer bottle, and then they never showed up in court. And then 5 years later, they had a warrant for their arrest. And these dudes are not gang members, but they self-portrayed themselves as gang members, as a bad boy, a wannabe bad boy, to try to get the interest of the black women in the nightclub. And the woman went back and tattletaled on these men and told them they self-proclaimed themselves this. And somebody drove in the neighborhood and found out what kind of car this dude drove. And next thing I know, the police is following him everywhere he go. He go to McDonald's, police is at McDonald's. This dude go to his girlfriend's house, police at his girlfriend's house. This dude go pick his girlfriend up from work, the police is at her job. And he trying to figure out why he being followed. And you see, he didn't figure it out until he got an arrest warrant. You associating with someone, so we're investigating you. They had to go to court. And then his big brother got mad because his big brother is a bad boy who did some crimes back in the day in the late 80s, early 90s. And he was in there perpetrating. And his big brother found out about it through the hood that he was perpetrating. Now, you might say, how come I know this story? Because I was playing basketball with this guy. And once I saw the cops, I didn't want to play basketball with them no more. Because then the problem I would have is they would follow me around. They didn't, but it's the idea that the cops could have said, you know what? Let's get a picture of all the guys playing basketball and let's follow all of them. I didn't like that. That I'm playing basketball with you, and then those of them, we play 2 games, here come the cops. Like, I'm thinking like, oh no, what did you have done, man? And they looking at the car, they looking at the license plate. I'm like, oh no, come on, man. I saw some days later at the mall, and he walked up on me and told me, man, I ain't no gangbanger, man. And I'm looking at him like, if you ain't no gangbanger, if you ain't no real bad boy, why you perpetrating? Why you acting like you from that hood when you not? And then the police pop up at the Fox Hills Mall and see him with his girlfriend. And follow him throughout the whole entire mall. And then he had to leave the mall because they made him leave the mall. The only place he can go to is the Crenshaw Mall. But then that won't do him no good because there's police. There's a police station right at the Crenshaw Mall. So then they would find out and they would follow him. So you see what the problem is when you try to be a quote-unquote wannabe bad boy? You get the attention of the real bad boy. And it don't turn out very good. And the wannabe bad boy be trying to do this to impress women. Now, let's talk about what happens if you're a wannabe player. Wannabe players are just as bad as the wannabe bad boy. And I'm going to tell you why the wannabe player is just as bad as the bad boy. The wannabe player be talking about women that he had sex with, right? And the wannabe player don't realize that there's a consequence too. Like when you crack jokes at the gym about you would mess with somebody's mama or you would mess with somebody's grandmama, there'd be two or three guys that take those jokes very serious and very personal. And I had a friend who used to do this in high school and in college. He would always be hollering at somebody's mama. Like, he wouldn't go after the daughter or the granddaughter, but he would always try to get his flirt on with the mama and the grandmama. And we all thought he was out of his mind because he would do it. And no sooner than he would do it, we would get grown men in their 30s and 40s coming up to the school to go find the principal, to find the group of guys that were making the jokes and confront the guys like, so I heard you were cracking jokes about you was gonna smash my old lady, huh? Huh, I was just playing. I was just joking. We were just, being kids, just clowning around. Turns out, one of these guys actually did what they call a dare. I weren't in the bathroom because I got into a fight and I got suspended one day. Word was, because I wasn't there, that this guy actually did get with somebody's mother and grandmother. And I can't tell you on camera because I don't want this video to get demonetized and taken down, but you can use your imagination. It is open to interpretation. Word was, he had a cell phone, and I guess he thought he was a film director. I guess he thought he was Steven Spielberg, and just leave it at that. You're not going to get my channel taken off the internet and demonetized, okay? But he thought he was Steven Spielberg because he took his phone out one day and he showed it to everybody in class, and the principal took the phone, and when the principal took the phone, the principal was so red in the face that she wanted to take a baseball bat and sing the nursery rhyme, "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Like, she was red in the face because she went to church with the lady that he cracked jokes about. And that was just one incident. It happened again maybe 2 years later. He was a senior playing football, and everyone was trying to figure out why the grandmama was giving this man money for a haircut, taking this man out to the movies, taking him to the mall, buying him Michael Jordans, buying him some Kobe's, buying him some LeBrons. LeBron was already in the NBA at that point. Before LeBron did that, I'm taking my talents to Miami South Beach. And we was trying to figure out why is a black woman that's in her 50s buying this man Michael Jordans, Kobe's, LeBron James, taking him to the mall, taking him to the movies, as if these two were dating. And it turned out they was. And it caused a national high school scandal because he was a football player and he was going to go to UCLA College or USC. And to make a long story short, it kind of hurt the school's image because now they had to ban her from the football games. She could only go to the away games. She couldn't come to the home games. And then he would talk to her on cell phone. And then when the principal found out this is the same woman she went to church with for 10 years, she was devastated. She couldn't believe that one of her own football players was dating her best friend from church for 10 years, but the black woman was in her 50s. And it was either get rid of the lady or lose a football player. This caused the football team in my high school of Westchester High to lose football games. Failed to make the playoffs. And then what happened? An older guy in his late 40s or mid 50s came up to the school to try to beat down the football player because he tried to holler at his old lady. You see, there's a consequence for being a wannabe player. See, players, they do get they mac on with the mama, the grandmama, the daughter, the granddaughter. They mess with the sister, the auntie. Players have sex with multiple women. Players have sex with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 women. The players and the bad boys will have sex with the mamas, the grandmamas, the daughter, the granddaughter, the sister, the auntie. It don't matter if the woman's fat and out of shape. I already made a video about that. They'll smash anything in the skirt. What I'm saying is the wannabe player was stupid. He kept telling everyone his business. See, a real player don't tell nobody his business. A real player don't come up to his job and take his phone out and show everybody who he messed with. Because you don't know who's watching. You don't know who's talking. You don't know who's going to go tell the information that you told. And by the time the word get out that you did it, now you're going to get hurt. And then there's the incident in college where the guy was messing around with a guidance counselor. Same thing, was a black girl in her late 20s, early 30s. She was a guidance counselor, and she felt sorry for him because he could not get an athletic scholarship to play football. So she pulled some strings and got him a scholarship. And then her husband found out about it and came up to the school and wanted to fight the football player because why? She did some things she had no business doing. And when he thought it was just trying to help him play football, he thought that was the worst she could have done. It was much worse than that. She took him onto the football field, and like I said, I don't want the video to get demonetized and taken off the internet, but this is for you guys that want to be bad boys, want to be player. If you're not the real bad boy, you don't need to be trying to be a bad boy. If you're not a player, you don't need to be trying to be the player if you're not going to be a player. Being a player means it has advantages, but it also has disadvantages. You don't want nobody calling your phone at 1 o'clock in the morning talking about when I see you, I'm going to get you. You don't want that. I've had 4 friends who can't even go to certain parts of Los Angeles because if their face gets recognized, then they gotta call the police. Then they gotta leave the area. Now, has it ever happened to me? No, because obviously I'm a real player. I played the game well as a player. I get hit on by mamas and grandmamas, and usually I try to be respectful. I try to say, well, you got a husband or an ex-husband. I ain't trying to destroy or mess that up. But some of you wannabe players, you see this in the movies and the television shows, and you let your imagination run wild too much. And then when you get somebody knocking at your door at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, you don't want them problems. And the reason why I'm making the video is because you got these morons who make these YouTube videos telling you got to be a bad boy. Oh, you got to be a player. Now, I'm not saying be a nice guy or a good guy. What I'm saying is understand the difference between a real bad boy and a real player, and understand the difference. A bad boy is a real bad boy. He's going to do things that's going to get him in trouble with the law. A wannabe bad boy, you're just going to get in trouble with the law. If you're a player, you better understand the consequences of being a player. Sooner or later, it catches up with you. Someone will find out from work or from the gym or from church you've been trying to mac to somebody's mama or grandmama. You've been trying to mac to the daughter or the granddaughter. The word will get out and somebody will find out. See, a real smart player, not only that we cover our tracks, we don't try to make a habit out of doing it all the time. Now, it's different if the girl want to cheat on her boyfriend, and you participated, that's one thing. But then you forget the rule. The first rule of being a player is do not tell everybody your personal business. You don't know who's gonna go back and tattletale because the word get out at work that you're doing it. You could get fired and lose your job. You doing it at the gym, you can get kicked out of the gym. You saying it in the neighborhood, and somebody might feel some type of way. So a real player don't tell. These wannabe players are guys that tattletale and then you wonder why people are upset with you. They be like, you did what? Oh man, you should know homeboy get mad when you say that. So I just want to make this video to give you some entertainment. Well, not entertainment, it's a video, but my point is, understand the difference between the real bad boy and the real player versus the fake bad boy and the fake player. You got real bad boys and players, you got fake players and fake bad boys. Till then, peace.